What if the very first program running in your brain, the one installed before you could even speak, still secretly rules much of your life? What if your deepest fears, your craving for comfort, your reactions to stress, and even your relationship with society are all rooted in a primal pre-verbal imprint? In Chapter 3 of Prometheus Rising, Robert Anton Wilson introduces us to the first circuit in the 8-circuit model of consciousness, the oral bio-survival circuit. In this video, we'll explore how this ancient program shapes your body, your architecture, your culture, and even your politics, often without your conscious awareness. Stick around until the end because understanding this circuit could unlock the hidden roots of your anxiety, your need for security, and your ability to live freely in an uncertain world. If you miss this, you might stay trapped in a survival loop without ever knowing why. Genes and monads, the seeds of life. Chapter 3 opens with a dense but profound quote. Genes, like Leibniz's monads, have no windows. The higher properties of life are emergent. What does this mean? Leibniz described monads as fundamental units of existence, self-contained and windowless. Similarly, genes operate independently, without awareness of the larger organism they will eventually help create. Yet through complex interactions, life emerges. Complex, beautiful, unpredictable. Think about Conway's game of life. A simple set of rules creates astonishing complexity. Genes and monads function similarly. Basic building blocks creating elaborate systems through simple, blind processes. This suggests that consciousness itself, your thoughts, emotions, ambitions, might be emergent, not fundamental. You are not a single entity observing reality. You are a symphony of countless hidden processes, harmonizing and clashing in ways you only dimly understand. Understanding the emergent nature of life leads us to humility and to wonder. The oral bio-survival circuit, imprint at birth. The first circuit is all about survival. It programs the newborn with a simple, binary code. Advance toward nourishment and safety. Retreat from pain and danger. Crucially, this imprint happens early during a sensitive window. A traumatic or comforting early experience can set the tone for an entire lifetime. Examples: a goose imprints on a ping pong ball if it's the first thing it says. A giraffe orphans and imprints on a jeep, believing it to be its mother. If a newborn consistently experiences nurturing care, their nervous system encodes the world as a fundamentally safe place. If early experiences involve neglect or violence, the brain becomes wired for fear and distrust. How much of adult anxiety, distrust, and existential dread is simply a replay of early unmet survival needs? Healing the first circuit might be the most radical act of self-transformation. Architecture and the oral circuit. Wilson takes a fascinating detour into architecture. Have you ever wondered why domes, arches, and rounded spaces feel so comforting? These designs subconsciously mimic the nurturing curve of a mother's body. Rounded spaces satisfy the oral bio-survival circuit, whispering, "You are safe here." Example: religious structures like cathedrals and mosques often feature grand domes. These aren't just aesthetic choices, they're psychological triggers, resonating with our deepest, earliest programming. Even today, many high-end homes feature open spaces, soft curves, and natural materials, all designed, consciously or unconsciously, to soothe the bio-survival brain. Architectural theorists often talk about emotional architecture, spaces designed to evoke safety, awe, or playfulness. When you walk into a massive dome or a softly lit room, your body relaxes before your mind even notices. The oral circuit has been touched. Medical and psychological implications. Because this circuit is rooted in bodily survival, disturbances often manifest physically, not just mentally. Chronic tension, breathing difficulties, frozen body postures, these aren't random symptoms, they're physical echoes of an early survival imprint gone wrong. Many ailments treated by doctors might have deeper roots in early trauma to the bio-survival circuit. Healing could require not just medicine, but reprogramming the very first assumptions your nervous system made about the world. Somatic therapies, healing through the body rather than just through talking, are gaining traction precisely because trauma is stored physically. Practices like yoga, breathwork, and EMDR work not by explaining the trauma, but by helping the body rewire its basic survival responses. Pause right now. How are you breathing? Deep and slow, or shallow and tight? Your breath reveals your relationship to survival, safety, and trust. With practice, conscious breathing can become a way to gently rewrite your first circuit. Waking Wounded, a planet of sleepwalkers. Wilson paints a chilling picture. Modern society is largely composed of the waking wounded, adults whose biosurvival circuits were damaged in infancy. Instead of growing into free, playful beings, many of us are rigid, anxious, constantly hunting for biosurvival tickets, money, power, status, believing these will finally make us safe. Fairness? Decency? How can you expect fairness or decency on a planet of sleeping people? Until the underlying programming is healed, no amount of political reform or social engineering will create lasting peace. The revolution must happen inside each nervous system first. Consider how much social conflict, racism, xenophobia, class warfare is really a disguised battle over perceived survival threats. Healing at the root means creating cultures where safety is a baseline, not a privilege. The dimension of one, retreat or advance. Wilson models the oral biosurvival circuit as a one-dimensional behavior. Advance, move toward pleasure, safety, nourishment. Retreat, move away from pain, threat, danger. All complex adult behaviors, at root, can often be traced back to the simple yes, no, forward, backward decision-making process. Examples: approach a new opportunity or shy away from it. Trust a new friend or withdraw suspiciously. Embrace change or cling to the familiar. Even seemingly sophisticated decision, choosing a job, ending a relationship, moving to a new city, are deeply influenced by the primal coding of the first circuit. By becoming conscious of when your first circuit is activating, you can make choices from awareness rather than instinct. You move from being a puppet of your early imprints to a conscious creator of your destiny. Extending biosurvival beyond mother. Originally, survival meant staying close to mother. As we grow, this association extends from mother to family, from family to tribe, from tribe to nation, from nation to humanity. In modern capitalist societies, Wilson argues, the extension often fails. Instead of seeing society as a cooperative network, we're conditioned to see it as a competitive jungle, where money replaces trust as the primary survival ticket. Result: chronic anxiety, isolation, alienation, scarcity mindset. When survival becomes tied to money rather than community, loneliness becomes epidemic. Depression, addiction, and violence often follow. Healing the first circuit could be the antidote to societal fragmentation. Interest rates and suicide rates. Wilson references studies showing a correlation between economic instability, interest rates, and suicide rates. When biosurvival anxiety spikes, despair follows. The system is wired so deeply into our biology that economic changes ripple directly into life and death consequences. Consider how economic downturns increase depression, substance abuse, and even violence. These are not merely social issues, they are biosurvival crises at the nervous system level. The 2008 financial crash saw a worldwide spike in mental health crises. This wasn't just about losing money, it was about losing the basic sense of security that allows higher human functioning. Prune-Faced versus baby-faced. Healthy first circuit, playfulness, openness, relaxed facial expressions. Damaged first circuit, tension, rigidity, prune-faced expressions. While physical cues can offer hints, we should never judge solely by appearances. True healing happens internally, not cosmetically. Body language is a reflection of inner states. Chronic tension, tight jaws, hunched shoulders. These are signs the first circuit is still carrying old survival alarms. Gentle practices like breathwork, massage, dance, and emotional processing can help unwind these patterns. Reprogramming the oral biosurvival circuit. Wilson suggests that reprogramming is possible, but requires deep, embodied work. Exercises. Play. Consciously engage in playful activities. Laugh, dance, explore without agenda. Pleasure. Allow yourself simple sensory pleasures. A sweet dessert, a warm bath, a deep breath. Body awareness. Regularly check in with your breath and tension. Practice softening. Psychedelics and meditation can temporarily soften the nervous system, allowing new imprints. Always approach these tools responsibly and consciously. Long-term practices like authentic movement, somatic therapy, creative expression, and loving relationships can gradually rewire the biosurvival circuit towards safety and joy. Bigger vision, humanity beyond biosurvival obsession. Wilson dreams of a world where basic survival needs are universally met, freeing humanity to pursue higher, more fulfilling goals. What would you create if you weren't constantly worried about money or safety? How would society change if most people felt fundamentally secure? Can we build a culture that values play, growth, and connection over hoarding survival tickets? A society not driven by fear could unleash an explosion of creativity, innovation, compassion, and joy. Art, science, and spirituality could flourish beyond anything we can currently imagine. Even imagining this future shifts your nervous system slightly. Belief creates reality. Like the quarter experiment from Chapter 1, believing in abundance opens doors that fear keeps hidden. Your first circuit is still alive inside you, whispering retreat or advance with every breath. But now you know, you don't have to be its slave. You can become its master. By healing your biosurvival imprints, by choosing play over fear, trust over suspicion, openness over rigidity, you can reprogram the very roots of your consciousness. Robert Anton Wilson's wisdom reminds us, true freedom begins at the deepest, most primal level. If this video resonated with you, smash that like button, subscribe for more transformational deep dives, and comment below. How do you plan to heal and reprogram your own biosurvival circuit? Until next time, stay playful, stay fearless, and keep rising beyond survival.